Hi, everybody. I'm Denny LeConte. I'm the SVP of Products here at SolarWinds, and wanted to welcome you all to our office and to this presentation today. Just to kind of give you an idea who I am, I've been with SolarWinds about 7 years, pretty much from the time that it went from being a little family-owned company in Tulsa till we moved it to Austin and really made it a much bigger company. So that I started as a product manager, so I've been doing kind of in the trenches, working on some of the products, actually a lot of the products back in the day, and so now sort of oversee a lot of the product strategy. So what I'm going to try and do before we get into the demos is just give you an idea of who SolarWinds is. You may be familiar with our products, but a little bit of how we think of ourselves and our place in the tech industry. And so really, why are we different? Why do we think we're different than everybody else? Well, one of the things we're trying to do is to, in essence, bring IT technology, good IT management software to the masses. The way we look at a lot of IT stuff that comes from really large kind of entrenched companies is that they aim everything they do at the very biggest companies in the world. You think of the sort of as a pyramid with the Fortune 50 at the apex, and then little small businesses at the bottom. When SolarWinds really got going, you think about the Fortune 50 and the Fortune 500, they are very well served because they have a lot of money, and there are many vendors trying to get that money, trying to deliver products so that they can have a piece of that. What's been traditionally very underserved is everyone else, right? They're like, oh, mid-market, there's lots of companies, but they aren't all that, they don't have a lot of money, they can't afford our software, never mind them. So we looked at that and said, look, mid-market is underserved, but just because they're smaller doesn't mean they don't have really hard problems to solve. They just don't necessarily have the same budget to solve it. So what we've tried to do is take problems that are well understood, right? Not the bleeding edge problems. Leave that to the Fortune 50. They've got lots of money to throw at it. We're trying to take the problems that have been around for a while and are still problems, aren't well solved. Provide a product that is meant for the mid-market, which is not necessarily, and even into the small enterprise. And we're all over the Fortune 500, but mostly at the departmental level. Make a product that is useful to the IT professional, that is affordable on a mid-market kind of budget, and that is really easy to use. And those actually are all tied together. If you're going to go and sell to the CIO or to the CEO and tell a big story, all you need is really good PowerPoint. The product needs to have the right bullet points to sell to a senior executive. Well, if you're going to sell to the, whether the IT guy actually has a product that solves this problem, whether it's easy, is to some extent secondary. It'd be nice, but I don't need it to be. I just need to get a senior executive to agree that this is great and they're going to fork over $1 million and that's it. We take a different approach where we're trying to sell directly to the IT professional, and the first step in the process, really they look at our website, they go, does this look like it'll solve my problem? Let me download it, install it myself, and try it. And then they go maybe to the manager, maybe to a director level guy, say, look, this is going to cost a few $1,000s, solves the problem, it'll be up and running, tomorrow, and you do it that way. Now that makes you build a very different sort of product. You do need to have problems that are well understood. You need to have something that is going to appeal to the professional, not necessarily to the latest and greatest craze. So where that leaves you is when we think about how do you innovate on software, are we going after the latest wrinkle on cloud management? Are we going after software-defined networking? Well, no, not yet. That's not really our focus. Where we're at is the problems that everybody has. So we innovate by trying to take IT problems, which are, I think, just the hardest problems to build software around, because all software is kind of complicated to build, but IT stuff, the infrastructure is complicated, the management problems are complicated, and making that really simple. Not because the customers can't figure it out, right? We sell to really smart guys, but they don't necessarily want to devote their time to understanding their management product. They want to devote their time to solving their own problems. The management product should just happen. That shouldn't be where you focus all of your time. So, I mean, how does this benefit the end user? It's certainly, the main thing is that we sell to the masses, and there's over time, there ends up being a real difference in how sort of an enterprise-focused company and a SolarWinds type company would do things. If you're focused on the enterprise, one of the things that happens is you end up building oddball features, because there's some large company, they have a very idiosyncratic need and a lot of money. So they say, well, I'll buy your product if you go and do this weird feature that we really want. It doesn't matter if anybody else wants it. It's just, you know, the sales guy comes to you and says, look, it's $1 million. They tell the product manager goes, oh, it's $1 million. Okay, we'll do it. The analogy I often use, it's like, look, you've got a client, they've got 3 arms. That's a very unusual client. And you're selling them sweaters. Well, what they want is, look, I need a 3rd arm in the sweater. You're like, well, nobody else really has that, but you're going to pay me $1 million for the sweater. Well, all right. And now all of your sweaters have 3 arms. Everybody gets the 3rd arm. They're like, what is that for? Look, you just don't worry about it. It's awesome. If you grow a 3rd arm, you'll be able to use it, right? So that's kind of the experience you have. The thing that, because we serve the masses, that we feel we don't have to do is we just go, look, you should go find somebody who's going to take care of that 3rd arm of yours. You're just not, we're not going to do it. We're going to take care of the sort of the, if you think about a normal distribution, we try and focus on the thick part of the bell curve, not on the extreme ends. So that's really kind of our philosophy. And over time, what you get is a product that makes kind of the most people happy, right? You're satisfying it's more, really, when we think about our product management process, it's very democratic. How we do that is, if some of you may have been on our site, we have a kind of a separate community site we call THWAC. There's not any great reason that we call it THWAC. I remember the debate about the name. We had to call it something, and THWAC sounded pretty cool, and we just went with that. A little bit why we're named SolarWinds, because that also sounds pretty cool, although it has nothing to do with solar or wind, which, believe me, you explain that. You answer that a lot if you work for this company. So THWAC is where a lot of our users come. We've integrated that community site. It's just a very active, very positive forum. We've integrated into a lot of the products so that you can actually, from inside the product, you can read the blog posts, you can communicate on the forum, you can share custom stuff that you've built, all inside of THWAC. We think that's a key part of when customers buy in, is that they're buying into that community, so that if you're using the products, you're not alone. You can go and talk to other people who have very similar products around networks and systems that you're already trying to solve. Well, and the other piece is that because we have such a close relationship with our users, and we value that a lot, like, we've all participated in forums, and some forums are really, really nice places to hang out, and everybody is civil. And some places, they're nasty, right? They kind of turn into flame wars and people sort of throwing poo at each other, and just awful. One of the reasons we think that we have a nice place in our community is that every product manager is required pretty much to read every post on their products, right? And then they respond. I haven't done it myself in a long time, but if you go back and look at me, or if you go back and look at LaPointe, who's now VP over products, but used to be a product, we have thousands of posts. Brandon probably has 10,000 posts. And it's because you're watching it and you're responding, you're engaging back and forth. So we think it's a problem if somebody asks a product question, they really want an answer. If you just leave it out there, eventually people get frustrated, and that's when the forum goes from being, a nice place to hang out to really an ugly place. So to us, the community is just as much a part of the product as the product itself, right? That's what you're joining when you join. And as we acquire products, we try and bring them into that as well. Which, one of the questions, at least I get a lot, because I'm participating in a lot of the acquisitions. We've bought a lot of companies over the last 18, 24 months. why have we done that? How do we do that? Well, part of it is, we build a lot of products organically. I think we've been putting out 2 or 3 products a year for the last 5 or 6 years. Once we got enough sort of steam to have a big enough team, we're taking care of existing products. We're building new products. But then one of the things you say is, look, we've got customers. They keep asking for X. They want a product. Like we had people who were asking for a SIM product, a security information and event management product. Well, we could build that from scratch, but it is going to take a very long time before it's awesome. One other way to solve that problem is to go out and look in the market and see, is there anybody who has an awesome product that would be willing to basically sell it to us? We're more interested in the product than in the details of their company. And so that's how we ended up acquiring Trigeo. We looked at everybody in the market, but we hold them to the same standards. Is it super easy to use? Can you download the product and have an IT guy, fall in love with it? That's what we're looking for. And where, a lot of times you buy a company, buy their product, maybe they were selling with a lot more hand-holding, so it's going to take a little while for you to take our usability, our user experience team and sort of make some changes. But if it's close enough, we sort of buy it, because you've got a lot of products that are built by really smart engineers that they've kind of got this product that's really good and not well known at all, right? They don't have the money for marketing. They don't have much brand. So here's this little gem of a product that's kind of hidden. So we figure when we buy it, we can put it into our channel, into our machine, and we can expose it to a lot more people. And so that's sort of it. We go and look for products we wish we had built. We're like, dang, that is really good. We should sort of bring that into the family and expose it to our customer base. So that's sort of the philosophy. The one kind of exception is the one we did just last month is a company called Enable, which those guys sell to MSPs.
Such a good name you had to take them.
It is a really nice name.
Better than Disable, the other.
Yeah. The only thing I will tell you is the hyphen. I hate the hyphen because if you ever try and type Enable on your phone, hyphens are a drag, right? And you can't just leave the hyphen out because then it's Nabble, and that's not a good name either.
If I can make one suggestion here, because I can give you direct, real feedback.
Yeah.
I can give you direct, real feedback as a former Enable customer. I'm excited to see that SolarWinds is involved with this company now, and I really want to see what you guys are going to come out with as far as enhancements and integrations with your existing tool sets. One thing though, can we not license the living daylights out of this product? Can we keep the licensing model similar to what it was before?
Do you mean subscription versus perpetual? Or do you...
I know you guys are probably going to go to a subscription, but can there be some kind of consideration for perpetual customers who basically helped develop the product over the last 5 years?
Yeah, I think the plan is for perpetual customers to continue to be able to buy a perpetual, right?
Thank you.
That Kevin did not make that clear when he came out of the announcement. It sounded like we were going to just bulldoze everybody. That was not great. No, the plan is if you've been buying that way, you continue to buy that way. But going forward, we're just going to really try and stick to the subscription licensing. But look, for those folks who don't know Enable, they really sell to their remote management and monitoring. In some ways, it overlaps technology-wise with what we do, except they are laser-focused on managed service providers. And why did we do that? Well, we looked at the mega trend, and MSPs are just a big, important mega trend, right? They are, more and more small businesses are saying, well, I'm not going to have my own IT guy because I don't have enough need, especially now that I'm using more SaaS and more cloud stuff. I don't need a justification. So basically, I'm going to timeshare IT, a good IT department through an MSP. Well, long term, that's going to cut some of the corporate IT market. We want to make sure that as that segment grows, SolarWinds is participating. If that's a trend, we don't want to just find ourselves 5 years from now scratching our heads. Where'd all that business go? Well, it went over here, and that's a great model, and we want to be part of it. We looked at all the vendors, and Enable by far had the best set of products. They have just a magnificently run business. Those guys are just awesome. What we thought we could bring was, we have a lot more resources than they did as a small company. We have no intention to just take their products and make them direct. We're going to keep them kind of separate, right? I'm involved in the product strategy for both, but for the most part, SolarWinds is SolarWinds. We sell to corporate IT. Enable is Enable. They sell to MSPs. We will share technology, right? That's Joel's our CTO over everything. We are going to take some of the stuff SolarWinds has. We will probably put it into that Enable channel. Things that their customers have been asking for a long time, we'll provide that. But we're not just going to have them start selling SolarWinds products in a SolarWinds way. It's just different. So we totally respect it, and honestly, we have seen other larger companies, who shall go nameless, who have bought nice little RMM companies and then killed them, right? They just tried to make them into something they're not, and then they sort of floundered and died, which is what happens. So we're being as careful as we can that we want Enable to be Enable, and it's a different thing, but we're going to make it better than they could have. And we spent a lot of time talking to Gavin Garbutt, who's the CEO. He wanted to sell to us because we've kind of talked back and forth with Gavin for many years. We just finally thought the time was right, and he thought we would be a company that would take care of what he built over all those years. And almost the entire team outside of Gavin is still with us, JP and Mike Cullen and all of those. So we're going forward with them together. So in terms of, let me just wrap it up and give it to guys who are going to start demoing stuff. One of the things we saw in some of the questions beforehand is it seems somebody asked whether SolarWinds is really, are we shifting to the data center? Are we giving up on the network? And nothing could be further from the truth. Our vision is very much we are not abandoning the network. Network management is still kind of the heart and soul of the company. We are just trying to extend ourselves to wider problems in IT management. So many of our customers, they manage the networks and the servers and the help desk and the desktops. They've got all of those problems. So what we're doing is we're listening to our customers, and they're just saying, well, this is my problem too. Can you give me something in the same sort of price range, ease of use that I don't have over here while managing my servers or managing my desktops or managing my help desk? Right, so that's really what's driven us, and that's pretty much what you can expect going forward, is that we are just going to continue to sort of flesh out a broad IT management portfolio. And then we're going to take all the stuff we've bought. I mean, we bought a lot of stuff very quickly. The plan is wherever it makes sense to integrate it. Most of our products sit on top of our we used to call it everything Orion. We still think of that platform as the Orion platform, and we are going to be taking some of those acquired products where it makes sense. Like if you're doing monitoring, we think most monitoring should have the same look and feel and interaction model. Now, if you're doing something different, like, we bought a product called Dameware. It's a really nice little remote control product. Well, remote control, there doesn't necessarily have any particular place in these products that you would suddenly redo it and put it on the Orion platform. If we find a use case where it makes sense, we'll do it. But we're very much about solving particular user problems. I think the worst thing you can do is say everything should be in one interface because that is sort of a platonic good, and you just do it whether it makes sense or not. Like that's not what we're about. Every UI change we make, we spend a lot of time with our UX team talking to individual customers, showing them mock-ups before we build it, because it doesn't work as well if you build it and then say, do you like this or do you like it a lot? Like that's not the idea. It's, here's our best guess. Tell us what we've done wrong. Show us how it doesn't work, and then you fix it. So by the time you build it, you've got something that's actually really good. And so that's sort of it. I'm happy to answer any questions you guys have about kind of, where we think we're going, why we've done some of the things we've done. And if not, no questions, and I'll turn it over.